Hello everyone, this is Taylor Edderington with Rural Gorge Anglers in Canyon City, Colorado, the oldest fly shop and fly fishing guide service and only Orbis endorsed outfitter on the Arkansas River Basin. Thanks so much for viewing today. We're going to talk just briefly about changing conditions and kind of the fishing forecast on the Arkansas tailwater as we move into the month of April. Things have kind of really, made a transition here in late March, and as we move into April, we've got much higher flows than we started March in. March 15th, we started to see a step up, which is very typical on the Arkansas tailwater, and we saw a step up to about 200, 250 CFS. Now flows are right at 350 to 400 CFS ballpark. Now, are they going to hold there? We don't know exactly how that's going to work. We do expect for flows most likely to not drop below 350 CFS moving forward in the month of April. The big thing we're looking at here is we've got 150% snowpack on the Arkansas River Basin. So we're continuing to move some water on the upstream section from Lake Creek and Clear Creek Reservoir on the upper Arkansas, downstream right now on April 1, about 300 CFS release there. And then you've got about 250 CFS native. That's probably going to increase over the coming days. We'll probably see a total flow of around 700 to 800 CFS ballpark on the upper Arkansas Basin. And so we will probably see an increase in flow on the Arkansas tailwater because they want to keep as much water as possible in Lake Pueblo. However, they have to make room for that most likely very heavy runoff that we're going to see in late May coming into the reservoir from the upper river. So expect for flows to really not drop below that 350 CFS mark. However, we could see them bump up to the 600-700 CFS level. We'll keep you tuned into that within our text reports as we progress through the month. As far as fishing's concerned, honestly, the last 2 weeks have been some of the best 2 weeks we've seen in the last year on the Arkansas tailwater. As soon as flows bumped on March 15th, fish really went on the feed. You go from a time period where flows are under really 70 CFS for a long period of time. Fishing is super technical because fish are pressured heavily and there's just not enough water for them to spread out in. And the bug activity really hasn't populated. It's just not really going, kind of stagnant. You go from that to flows being released, bugs being super active, fish being able to spread out and be happy, and honestly just productivity went through the roof. We had some of the best guide trips we've had in a year on the Arkansas tailwater the last two weeks of March. We expect for that to really continue in the month of April, and into early May as well. And from a guide service perspective here at Rural Gorge Anglers, we'll be weighting it and we'll also be floating it. Now we're at a level to where we can really take advantage of our float guides. 350 CFS is really what we need to do that. If you haven't floated the Arkansas tailwater before, fantastic way to learn the river and see it from a new perspective. Our guides are excellent at that, and that's really something that we have a great niche in on the Arkansas tailwater. Wade trips will continue to be very, very productive as well. So, if you do want to go in and wade it, it's going to be much different than you've seen it, in the past 2 months. Obviously, there's 4 times as much water in it currently than there was a month ago. So, just know going forward, but really very wadeable up to 600 CFS and, even more than that if you know where you're going. So you will have some great days for wading here in the month of April to do that. As far as bugs are concerned, really heavy BWO activity kicking on there. We've seen the heaviest activity in the substrate and in the mid-water column. However, we've seen some substantial hatches. Most of the dry fly activity has been relegated to midge, the midge population. We've seen heavy midge hatches and catching a lot of fish on midges on top, but you know, we'll see that BWO activity really ramp up this month. Also, just within the substrate with the heavier flows, fish are definitely eating annelids, you know, your worms, eating cranefly larvae, eating free swimming caddis larvae. There are a lot of bugs in the water column that are active now at this flow. We're seeing fish eat scuds, obviously eggs with fish, you know, spawning. And one thing I'll tell you, you know, do be very, very careful walking around the river because there are a lot of reds and there's a lot of actively spawning fish, you know, especially on the upper end of the river, from say Pump House upstream. So please do not target those fish that are actively spawning, and just be careful where you're wading. Those clean areas of gravel, those are spawning reds. We don't want to walk on those, okay? So as far as patterns are concerned, let's take a quick look at that and kind of give you some idea of how we're going to focus on the Arkansas tailwater moving forward here in the month of April. All right, folks, so let's take a quick look at some fly patterns here for the Arkansas tailwater as we move into the month of April. Like I said, with flow increases, there are some bugs on the menu that you know, sometimes we'll fish at lower flows, but particularly as flows increase and you see some debris and edge scouring and certain bugs released through the dam. I really like cranefly larvae as a good heavy lead fly in an indicator rig or a point fly in a Euro rig. Here's your tan crane. We fish them in tan and olive. This is called a CZ crane. Nice and heavy. You've got a lot of annelids in the water, you know, so your worms. We like tan and pink during this time period. Red, also a really good color, obviously. This is just a tungsten microworm here, okay? Scuds. We start to see really fish focusing on scuds during heavier release time periods. You've got olive here, kind of an olive beadhead, the McClellan scud. You've got a UV hunchback scud here in the orange color, which also kind of doubles as an egg pattern. Obviously, with the rainbow trout spawn going on, otter eggs, this is an otter egg in a tangerine color, or fish and beads can be very productive. On the nymph side of things, your BWOs, like I said, are going to be primaries for the month of April. Your pocket water betas, one of our favorites in 1820. 2-bit hooker, and this specific guy is purple, but we fish it in black. We fish it in light olive, size down to a size 18 and 20. Juan Ramirez is Slim Shady, one of our fantastic flies on the upper river, but just a breadwinner on the Arkansas tailwater as well. Double tungsten there. Into our caddis scene, and there are a lot of free swimming caddis in the water column on the tailwater, as well as case caddis. So, you know, really like our roller, Shag Uncle's tungsten roller, smaller size 16 and 18 on the tailwater. Larry Kingery's metallic caddis larva, pretty hard to beat in our smaller 16 and 18s. Midges are still really king, especially early in the day. Tungsten tube midge, Landon Mayers, nice, heavy, small profile midge. Juan Ramirez is money midge with that flashy thorax, one of our favorites in red and brown. Then as we move into our emergers, we've got our smoke jumper, which is a BWO, size 18, 20, and 22. We've got Dwayne Redford's butt crack Betis, which is a nice little glass bead emerger, one of our kind of favorite new patterns. Bat wings, nice CDC representation, size 20 down on the tailwater is going to be your size of choice. Caddis emergers or the pupa stage. Kryptonite caddis, we're fishing these smaller, size 16 on the Arkansas tailwater. Your graphic caddis, a non-weighted emerger, caddis pupa that will start to really fish well as we move into the later part of April, seeing some caddis emergence. Your midge pupa, Rojo midge, pretty hard to beat as kind of a primary midge pupa when you're seeing midges coming off, but not as many fish up top. That's something that I like to fish deep or kind of mid-water column. Our adult stages, BWO, CDC Comparadun, size 18 and 20. Really hard to beat that guy there for a really great darker kind of color, slight profile. Your hackle stacker, a little bit lighter color, slight profile, adult there. A newer pattern, the Awanadun, really one of my great new guide flies. Nice and high vis, slight profile. Fish really eat the heck out of that thing. In your midge adults, Theo's melting pot midge, which can be fished kind of in the film or up top. Really great new midge adult there. Can also be fished as a trico dry. Wilcox's paramidge, got that shucking kind of stage going on there, the shucking midge. You can cut that tail off and it's a great high vis midge. Caddis dries, and again, we're going to start to see these in the spring. Here in April, we're going to start to see some sporadic caddis hatches. Screaming Banshee, this is a good skating pattern, but a good slight profile caddis dry. Another good slight profile high vis caddis dry is the front end loader. Really one of our favorites on the upper Arkansas, but great one on the tailwater as well. Streamers will really start to kick on here also. Fish are already starting to react to streamers, especially leeches dead drifted, but you can swing these things, kind of dead swing, you can move them, and different stripping techniques and some of those deeper stagnant pools. Hot cone slump busters, that's a black one there. We fish them purple and natural as well. That's one of our favorite kind of flies to fish tandem as a dropper or to fish on its own. Jigged thin mint, this is a great fly to fish dead drifted under an indicator. You can also fish it on a short leader and move it or dead swing it. Some bigger flies here, really hard to beat, these baby gongas, both in olive and black. Gets fish, definitely gets the fish's attention, and really just good movement, good durability. It's a good size, couple inches long. You can throw a trailer underneath or you can fish it on its own. Good fly to prospect with if you just really want to cover water too. Okay, so that's a good snapshot at flies for the Arkansas tailwater in April. Obviously our guides, are transitioning through different patterns from day to day, based on what conditions are. You'll need to do the same, but this will give you a good kind of idea of what your pattern representation should be going into a day on the tailwater in April. If you have any questions on that kind of stuff, of course, give us a shout, as like I said, patterns are changing daily down there, and always willing to help you. All of these patterns are that we've talked about here are available for purchase on our web store or by calling in. You can visit our feature flies category within our web store to find all of the patterns we've just discussed, and usually 2-day shipping to the Front Range of Colorado. So if you need to grab any, that's pretty easy. Or of course, swing in the fly shop in Canyon City. Okay folks, so hopefully taking a look at some patterns will be a helpful tool for you as you prepare for a day on the Arkansas tailwater here in the month of April. Like I said, taking a look at some of those caddis that we showed you, that's very preliminary, not a ton of caddis activity yet, but that will be coming as water temperature reaches, into those areas that we need it to be at for emergence and adult activity. Probably more later in the month, but really keep that in your wheelhouse. We'll continue to see heavy productivity on midge life cycle patterns throughout the month of April, and really start to see that BWO activity build throughout the life cycle stages. And then don't forget your scuds and your crane fly larvae and your other attractor patterns for nymphing down there with flow increases. Fish are really opportunistic on those type of patterns as well. Again, patterns change daily for us as far as our guide flies are concerned. So, these aren't hard, fast patterns, but they're things to give you, an idea of what to expect down there. And, what we suggest is giving us a call, checking our text reports, or stopping in the fly shop before you hit the river, and we can give you really the very, very latest on what's going on down there and what patterns we've been most successful with. Again, the fly shop's located 2 miles west of Canyon City, directly off US 50 at Skyline Drive. And you can purchase any of the patterns that we discussed online on our feature flies page within our web store. Those are available and usually 1 or 2 day delivery to the Front Range of Colorado. So easy to grab some of those patterns if you don't have them, and we can get those to you promptly before your day on the water. If you do have any questions at any point in time, we're happy to help you. We also have an online chat feature at the bottom right-hand corner of the website at ruralgorgeanglers.com. So during business hours, you can plug on our chat line and shoot a quick question at us, and that's a great way to get a quick answer back on conditions or patterns or what have you. Of course, you can reach out to us via email at info@ruralgorgeanglers.com, or you can call us toll free 888-994-6743, extension 1 for the fly shop, extension 2 for the guide service. And we do have some great days still available in the spring before runoff on the Arkansas Tailwater. So if you want to take advantage of one of those float trips that I mentioned, or a walk wade trip with one of our excellent Orvis endorsed guides, please give us a call to do so, as April will really be prime time for the spring fishing on the Arkansas Tailwater. You'll want to take advantage of getting out there before we see higher water here in the month of May. So give us a call, set up a guide trip, or swing on through, and we're happy to help you with your day on the water. We hope to see you all soon, and thanks so much for viewing.